GM. Crypto Insight. Oh, what did you say?
Hello.
Crypto Insight UK here. Ragnar, we're live in Amsterdam. I'm just going to quickly give you a market update before we start on with our day. He's very nicely brought me a coffee over. We've also got the Crypto Man here. He's just doing some stretching, getting his body moving in the morning here. Do you want to say hello, Crypto Man?
Hello.
Hey, he's here as well. So let's quickly get into Bitcoin's price action over the last few days. Obviously, we were looking for a low, and I talked about a possible path to recovery, looking like we could potentially see a higher low before we continue on. I talked about, that's an arrow, not a path. I talked about how we were normally seeing a flush out of leverage after we see a low set in crypto. So all those people jump into the market, we get a flush out, form a slightly higher low, and then continue basically on from here. Probably looking something like this. It's a freehand drawing towards the path to recovery. So something like that. Why do I think that? Well, there's obviously like more strong support at this 53,000 level rather than where we actually bottomed, which is kind of in the middle of nowhere. But as I talked about before, in terms of liquidity, that was more of a potential of a liquidity grab. But interestingly, the last few days, something might have changed. And actually, I'm going to talk about XRP as well just after this. Something might have changed though, interestingly, and it might have only changed in the last 4 to 8 hours. Obviously, it's so early to say, but we've formed a higher low here, and the interesting part about this higher low, there's two bottoming structures basically that happen when you find a bottom. Like one is in crypto normally is you have a flush down, a bounce back up where people jump in the market trying to catch the bottom with leverage longs. They then get stopped out, and as the market starts to reverse, people sell off, one last sell off, crush the leverage, and then off we go out of there, which would make sense into the support area. One thing that's making me potentially question that right now, although it has been the weekend, so like obviously as we always say over the weekend, it's not really fair price action, it's kind of fake price action. But when we've come down and set this higher low so far, we've had quite big volume on the last 4 hourly candle, but also we've lost leverage on open interest. That's very interesting to me. That means that there are less people levered in the market even here at this higher low than there were here at the bottom. So do we still potentially have a flush down to come? Maybe. It's going to depend on today's price action. Could there be a 10% flush still in open interest? Potentially. But forming a higher low after a low, forming a higher low in price action and a lower low in open interest is very interesting to me. So that's something I've definitely got my eye on there. Looking over at the leverage or the liquidity pools on Trading Different, we do have that liquidity here, the $50,000 region that we could wick into. And if we go on the daily, I'll show you the little structures that we talked about before. Let's see if we can get this to load. Again, you can see open interest coming down as we form that higher low. So interesting here, even on TradingView, you're seeing the same thing. And let's just get this chart sorted out here. Sorry, there we go. I can get rid of this leverage chart, getting liquidity here. If we look, this is the area that we talked about over there on the chart, 51,000 to 46,000 potentially, a possible wick into this region to finish us off. That would really flush this open interest out, guys. I don't know how low it would take us, but I would expect it would take us at least, I said 10% in the last, on TradingView, and it could be up to a 16% flush down if we get that. But as I talked to you about before, guys, we often leave liquidity behind in a bull market. So it's not something I'm definitely thinking that's going to happen, but it's something I've got my eye on. To finish off, I just want to talk about XRP. XRP versus Bitcoin and ETH is actually interesting. Most interestingly against ETH. XRP is doing something similar, higher low, low leverage. And the RSI is ticking higher. On the daily, let's have a little look. I haven't actually had a chance to look at this. I'm looking at this live with you guys. Okay, so on the daily, we have not broken these low closes. We're pretty much in line with these lows. So you could argue they were the bottom of the range, although there's more, or there is another layer of support here, or slash resistance now we're below it. But let's see what happens there. RSI is looking pretty low. Volume starting to tick up yesterday. Let's see what happens today, see if we can get some follow through. Actually, the volume started to tick up on the day we got this big wick out of that zone, which is kind of promising. XRP versus Bitcoin and versus ETH are the interesting things. So versus Bitcoin, even though the market was obviously bleeding out, XRP held this support level as for now. But the most interesting one for me is versus Ethereum, where we managed to actually, although we closed below it yesterday, we managed to get that highest daily close since Thursday the 22nd of May, really. So that's very interesting. And then we did have a red candle that closes back inside that range yesterday, but it wasn't engulfing. So today's price action is very important for XRP versus ETH and XRP versus Bitcoin. Obviously, we're looking for closes above this white line here, which is 0.000194, and then realistically closes up here between, which is 0.000161. I could post these charts for you guys if you want to have a closer look for yourself. You can draw these lines in for yourself. But again, I've got my eye on XRP. I've got my eye on Bitcoin. We're out and about in Amsterdam today, so I'm not going to be really active, but I just wanted to update you guys with my thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Share this video with a friend if you enjoyed it. Peace up, 8 town down, as Crypto Insight UK would say.